Welcome back, viewers. You are with me, Dr. Surbhi Unyal, and I teach philosophy at the School of Liberal Arts, Bennett University. We are doing a series on Indian knowledge system, and in this lecture, we are discussing the core principles of Indian knowledge system with a special reference to Dharma as being one of the foundational principles of Indian knowledge system. In the previous lecture, we discussed about dharma, karma and moksha and how each of them are interconnected. So, in Indian philosophy, we can see that there is an integration, or you can say that Indian philosophy integrates these three concepts, which is to talk about the material, ethical and the spiritual aspects of life, addressing both worldly success, which is earth, and the higher aspirations, which is moksha. So, if I talk about the terminology, which is the purusharth, that means what is the meaning of life? How does a purush gives an earth to the life that they're living? So, on the vyavharik level, we need to look for the meaning of life, and beyond that, if you want to transcend, then what is the higher aspiration is the moksha. So, if we take these three principles, then we can see that how these three principles addresses both the worldly success or the worldly meaning of life, the earth, and the higher aspiration, which is moksha. So, it emphasizes not just theoretical knowledge, but practical application through meditation, rituals and moral conduct. Dharma and karma provide ethical frameworks for decision making in modern dilemmas. That what kind of dilemmas that we often encounter with in our everyday life, where we have to choose the type of action that we wish to perform, and that needs to be done in guidance of dharma. So, dharma and karma, if we talk about from the ethical framework, helps us in solving different types of dilemmas that we encounter, which we can solve by taking the guidance from dharma. So, dharma base, or you can say dharma, is one of the most foundational concepts in the Indian knowledge system, embodying principles of righteousness, duty and moral order. It serves as both a philosophical framework and a practical guide for ethical living, emphasizing on harmony between the individual conduct and the universal laws, and therefore it serves as a guiding principle for the ethical living. If we try to look for the traces of dharma, where can we find dharma? So, it can be seen to be rooted in Ved, in Upanishads, in epics like Mahabharata and Ramayana, and Dharma Shastra. So, dharma provides the ethical and the moral foundation for personal, social as well as cosmic order. So, the term dharma, it's etymologically, the term dharma has its roots in Sanskrit, which is dhr, meaning to uphold or to sustain. It signifies that which sustains and supports life, society and the universe. So, dharma is that principle that will uphold, that sustains individual's life, or it sustains and upholds the society, or to take it in a more broader context, that how does it sustain the entire universe. So, dharma represents the following based on these ideas. It could be a moral duty depending on the actions aligned with righteousness and ethics. It could also be seen from the point of view of law and justice, where the rules governing the societal orders and fairness. It can also be seen as a cosmic order. So the natural laws that ensures the balance and harmony in the universe. And then from the spiritual point, it can be seen as the pursuit of higher truths and self-realization. Vedas, they lay the foundation for the concept of Dharma. So if we see in the Rig Veda, which is the earliest and the most revered text, introduces Dharma as the cosmic order rooted in the principle of Reet. This Vedic worldview reflects a profound understanding of moral, natural, and metaphysical harmony, connecting human actions with divine and universal laws. So, in the Ved, the Dharma, the term Dharma or the concept of Dharma has been represented as the cosmic order, which is known as the Reet. So, the Reet is the Vedic concept of universal law that governs the cosmic nature and human actions. It represents the eternal, unchanging truths and cosmic rhythm that maintains balance and harmony in the universe. So, how the universe is, how the universe runs, how it is framed, and how the whole law governs the universe and the cosmic. That is known as as represented by the term Reet. So, it talks about the laws that governs the cosmic and the nature and the human actions. And these are considered to be eternal and the unchanging truths. And this cosmic rhythm, they say, they maintain the balance and harmony of the universe. So, Reet ensures the movement of the celestial bodies, the change of seasons, and the cycle of birth and death, emphasizing that order, regularity, and justice, they underlie creation. It regulates the natural order, including the rising of the sun, the flow of the river, and the cycle of life. So, if you want to see the order in the cosmic sense, we can say that it is the Reet which ensures that the movement of the celestial bodies, the rising of the sun, the setting of the sun, the flow of the water, or the cycle of life. And Reet is overseen by deities like Varun and Mitra. So, Varun is the guardian of cosmic law and Mitra is the protector of social harmony. In that context, Dharma emerges as a human embodiment of this Reet. So, the Reet which is governing the cosmic order, if we want to understand that in the human embodiment, then that is termed as Dharma. So, translating the cosmic principles into moral duties and laws of the society. Therefore, the Dharma, it emerges as human embodiment of the Reet. So, Rig Veda, it connects Dharma with Karma, that is action, by emphasizing that right actions, they sustain cosmic order, while wrong actions, they disrupt it. So, seeing how the cosmic order relates to the human embodiment by the type of actions that they perform under the guidance of Dharma. So, if we perform a wrong action, then that would be disrupting the cosmic order. right? And if we perform a right action, that would sustain the cosmic order. So actions aligned with Reeth, they uphold Dharma, earning divine favor and prosperity, which is known as Punya. So when you do right actions, so when we do right actions, since it aligns with the Reeth, which upholds Dharma, therefore one gathers or attains Punya. Whereas the violation leading to disharmony and suffering, which is denoted by the term pap. So that's how pap and punya, depending on again the relationship, the interconnectedness of dharma, karma and moksha would be seen here when we do a particular kind of action, whether it is in the guidance of dharma, which leads to punya, or it is not in the guidance of dharma, which leads to disharmony and then to pap, and how that would be related to the concept of moksha. So dharma, as if we talk about dharma as a moral duty. So in the Upanishads, which focuses on self-realization and ethical conduct, that interpret dharma as a pursuit of truth, which is satya and harmony. So dharma is understood as a moral obligation. It functions as both an individual ethic and a collective framework for sustaining social and cosmic orders. So talking about dharma, we just talked about dharma as a cosmic order. Now let's talk about dharma from the moral sense. From the moral sense, dharma, as has been described in the Upanishads, it focuses on the self-realization and the ethical conduct, the kind of actions which are ethical in order to pursuit or in the pursuit of the truth. So these underlie moral obligations, and these moral obligations are again from the individual ethics, that how I need to perform an action, what kind of action I need to perform, and also a collective framework. And this collective framework helps in sustaining the social and the cosmic order. So in Indian philosophy, the dominant interest, it lies in understanding and achieving the highest values of human life. These values, known as the Purusharthas, coming from the word Purush and Arth, meaning the goal of human life, provides a comprehensive framework for living a balanced, meaningful and ethical life. They encompass moral, material, emotional and spiritual aspirations and are deeply rooted in the Indian knowledge system. So if we talk again, repeating what we had just discussed, that if you talk about what is the purpose of a human being. So in Indian philosophy, there are 4 purposes or goals of human life. So those 4 are known as the 4 Purusharthas. And those 4 Purusharthas are Dharma, Arth, Kam and the Moksha. So they are in one sense they seem to be independent, but when you talk about it from the Purusharth perspective, or what is an end or what is the highest goal of a human, then all these 4 concepts seems to be interdependent. So they are dependent on each other and they collectively address both worldly pursuits and the ultimate liberation, ensuring a holistic approach to human fulfillment. So what one needs to do, how what it needs to be done, and then how Dharma plays an important role in it. So dharma is the foundation of the purusharthas, representing moral duty or the righteousness and the ethical conduct. It provides the framework for harmonious living by guiding individuals towards actions that sustain social order, justice, and cosmic harmony. It ensures ethical behavior in personal, social, and professional life. So, duties vary on one's role. So, it could be swadharma, which depends on one's duty, or through age, different ashrams and circumstances, desh, kal, patra. So, how one action needs to be done, or how an action needs to be done from an ethical perspective, has been or is mentioned in the Dharma. So, if we talk about Dharma, Arth, Kam and Moksha again, so Kam, which is desire, Arth means possession, and Dharma means the guiding ethical principle, the duty. So, Karma and Arth done in the guidance of Dharma would then lead to Moksha. Because if they are not guided, if they are not done in the guidance of Dharma, then they could lead to unethical acts. So, if we talk about Kam or the desire, if it is not guided by Dharma, it could lead to unethical deeds. Again, if we talk about Arth, if it is not guided by Dharma, one could be, in one sense we can say it's all over, and then it needs to be governed and guided by the Dharma. Only then it would lead to moksha. And if you talk about social harmony, that how we can sustain the social harmony, or how we can uphold this relationship between the individual and the society, even in that case, Dharma plays an important role. So, it upholds relationships and societal stability by promoting truth, non-violence and justice. And examples of this could be that a ruler's dharma, let's say the Raj dharma, is to protect the people and uphold justice. Or a teacher's dharma, let's say, which is the Guru dharma, is to impart knowledge and wisdom. So, these are the different types of duties, or what we call as dharma. Could be from a perspective of a ruler, it could be perspective of a teacher, it could be perspective of various other acts and duties that are ascribed to us. And then duty dharma, or the dharma, guides us in doing those specific actions that we are meant to do. So, Arth, as I was mentioning earlier, refers to the pursuit of wealth, which is prosperity and economic stability, which are essential for sustaining life and fulfilling duties. It recognizes the practical need for material resources to support oneself or one's family and even the society. So, it's not that Arth and Kam are neglected. Arth and Kam are also important, because in order for us to sustain in this world, we need Arth, because this earth is a pursuit for wealth and prosperity. So, that is also important, right? It recognizes the practical need for material resources and how we can sustain ourselves and how we can sustain our family and also the society. Kam represents the pursuit of pleasure, enjoyment and emotional fulfillment. So, it could be indulging in love, art, music, etc. So, it acknowledges human desires and emotions are natural and legitimate aspects of life. Fine. So, an individual cannot be seen as without these pursuits, these emotional pursuits. So, Kam and Arth both are important, but need to be done in the guidance of Dharma. If it won't be in the guidance of Dharma, then it could lead to evil acts or bad karmas. So, moksha, which is the fourth Purusharth, is the ultimate goal of human life, representing freedom from the cycle of birth and death, and the union with the divine, the Brahman. It reflects the aspirations for spiritual awakening and self-realization. So, Dharma provides the ethical guidance for the pursuit of earth, wealth, and calm, which is pleasure. Earth and calm, they fulfill worldly responsibilities, making way for higher pursuits like moksha. So, moksha is the ultimate goal, but it requires the fulfillment of dharma, earth, and calm to ensure the holistic growth. So, all these four purusharths are interdependent because they cannot be taken independently in order to attain the ultimate, which is the highest goal of the individual to attain liberation or moksha. If we then talk about Swadharma, it is derived from the Sanskrit root which means swa, one's own, and dharma means duty. So, it refers to one's personal duty or moral responsibility based on their individual nature, based on their individual role and context within the society. So, what role or what context is ascribed to an individual is known as Swadharma, because that is one's own duty. So, it plays a crucial role in the framework of the Purusharths, Dharma, Arth, Kam and Moksha, by emphasizing context, sensitive ethics and personal accountability in both worldly and the spiritual pursuit. In Bhagavad Gita, we can see provides one of the most profound discussions of Swadharma, particularly in Arjun's moral dilemma on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjun, a Kshatriya warrior, hesitates to fight against his own kin. Krishna then reminds him that his Swadharma as a warrior is to uphold justice. So, that is considered to be the Dharma Yudh, the righteous war, and that abandoning or you can say Arjun abandoning his duty out of emotional attachment would lead to adharma or unrighteousness because he is not following his dharma. So, his swadharma, being a Kshatriya, is to fight in the battlefield, and where Arjun is in the state of deciding whether he should fight in the battlefield or not, because he thinks that fighting against his teacher, his relatives is an evil, and he would not want to indulge in this evil. Therein Krishna comes in, and Krishna tells him or reminds him about his duty as a warrior, and that being a warrior coming from the Kshatriya clan. So, if we look at the different types of varna system that existed, and these varnas based on the different kind of duties that each had to perform, wherein the Kshatriya had the duty to fight, and Arjun, if he wants to step back from fighting on the battlefield, then he is doing an adharma, because he is not following his duty, which is to fight on the battlefield. So, even if Arjun wants to take another path of liberation, which is, let us say, the path of knowledge, then he was reminded that as a Kshatriya, his Dharma, his duty is to fight on the battlefield. He cannot and should not step back from fighting in the battlefield, because if he would do that, then that is considered to be a dharma, not his killing the enemies, because that is a battlefield and they were supposed to fight against each other. So that's not considered to be a dharma, but a dharma would be when he would deny doing his duty as a Kshatriya. And the whole of the Bhagavad Gita, we can see, refers to this point on how dharma plays an important role, and it can also be seen as again an interconnectedness of dharma, karma and moksha, wherein different debates, different arguments that have been presented by Krishna to Arjun shows that how he has to perform the nishkam karma, the karma without thinking about its consequences, because we do not have control over the consequences, we only have control upon the actions that we can do. And if those actions are done in relation to or in the guidance of dharma, then that would lead to liberation. So these three core principles can be seen beautifully interconnected in the Bhagavad Gita and within the conversation that is happening between Lord Krishna and Arjun. So with this, viewers, we come to an end of this lecture. I thank you all for staying with us. Thank you.